the reward at the end is when we play something. I
Yeah,
mean, and it can be 16 bars of something, but they all feel inclusive, like they had a part to it.
that's amazing.
And it's better than me trying to come in and tell them, okay, you're gonna write, you play this, because then I'm just being a writer, composer, handing out parts. I do that in a session with guys, and I still have a hard time.
Welcome to episode 133 of the Bass Shed Podcast. My name is Ryan Roberts. What's up, everybody? Thanks for checking out the Bass Shed here on YouTube. Please make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you like the episode of the Bass Shed Podcast, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to hit the little bell to get notified about new videos that come out each week. The Bass Shed Academy is presenting a Latin music workshop with bassist and producer Oskar Cartaya. Oskar has worked with a long and impressive list of top-tier artists, including Spyro Gyra, Herb Alpert, Jennifer Lopez, Celia Cruz, Ruben Blades, Tito Puente, Robbie Robertson, and Willie Collin. In addition, Oskar has performed in the house band for TV's Showtime at the Apollo, the ESPYs, Latin Grammy, Guy's Choice Award, and has composed and arranged for projects such as Jodie Foster's movie Contact. On October 26th, Oskar will speak about bass-specific topics like sound production, feel, locking in with the clave, but he'll also speak in broader terms about Latin music in a broader sense. The workshop is designed for all instrumentalists and musicians wanting to deepen their understanding of Latin music and culture. Proceeds from the Latin Music Workshop support Global Arts. Global Arts is a nonprofit organization that builds relationships through music and serves underprivileged youth. Stop by thebassshedacademy.org or click the link in the show notes to learn more about Global Arts and the Latin Music Workshop. All right, folks, on November 21st, we have a masterclass on the inner game of music with Barry Green. A brief bio on Barry Green. Barry Green served as the principal bassist for the Cincinnati Symphony for over 28 years, and more recently, the principal bassist for the California Symphony and the Sun Valley, Idaho Summer Symphony. He's the author of the Doubleday book, The Inner Game of Music with W. Timothy Galway. This book addresses musicians reaching their full potential in performance and learning. Barry's book, The Inner Game of Music, has sold over 250,000 copies worldwide. Barry and the Bass Shed Academy are doing a workshop at the Los Angeles College of Music on Thursday, November 21st, that is focused on the topics of the inner game of music and is open to the public. This workshop is for all musicians and is available online, so if you're not in the Southern California area, you can also attend via the interwebs by registering for the live stream. Visit thebassshedacademy.org for registration. LemurMusic.com. Everything for the double bass can be found at LemurMusic.com. Shop their inventory of basses, bows, rosin, sheet music, accessories, and if you're in the Southern California area, set up an appointment and stop in to experience the shop for yourself. LemurMusic.com. Use the promo code TheBassShed, all one word, for 10% off.
Hi, this is Jerry Jamont. I want to tell you about my upcoming book of bass transcriptions, JJ's Jukebox Volume 1. This is a collection of over 15 of my bass lines in standard notation and tablature. They are accurately done here by Ryan Roberts of the Bass Shed Academy. Each transcription is accompanied by a video where I talk about what was happening during the recording session, how I got involved, and how I approached each song. Stop by thebassshedacademy.org to learn more about my book of transcriptions, JJ's Jukebox Volume 1, and purchase a signed copy of my memoirs, Make It Happen.
On the episode is Oskar Cartaya, who will be hosting the Latin Music Workshop this weekend. We wanted to take a second and get together to share with you all some insight about the Global Arts Corporation, Oskar's work within the community, and other outreach events he spearheaded not only here in Los Angeles, but also in New York. I think it's a beautiful thing that Oskar is so passionate about giving his gifts and talents back to the local communities. After knowing Oskar for as long as I have, I found it really inspiring to hear about his dedication to serving through music. It's always a great hang with Oskar, and I hope you find hearing from him as inspiring as I did. And here it is. Here's my talk with bassist, composer, producer, Oskar Cartaya. Cool, man. How you been? How you been?
I've been good. I've been good, my brother.
Cool. Cool. What kind of things you been doing?
Uh,
What kind of gigs you been on? You been producing a lot?
I just finished a production I had been working for a while for a gospel artist,
Oh, sweet.
and did that. Took me a few months of getting everything together because I arranged and produced a whole track,
Okay.
but it came out really, really good. So
That's
excited
cool.
about that one. Yeah.
When's that come out?
Well, he still has he's gonna do an EP first.
Okay.
So he's working uh as a result of that song that I did, they were so happy. So now I'm doing like string and orchestral arrangement for another tune that they already had done.
Oh, cool.
So I'm gonna add a little touch to that one.
Nice.
So hopefully by the end of the year, everything will be done.
Nice. How big of a string section are you arranging?
Uh I am in the process of trying to figure it out.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah, yeah.
like you hear the track, and I usually live with stuff for a moment. Like I'll play it and listen to it, and then I'll listen to it again. I don't come with any preconceived notion of like, oh, this is
Right.
what I'm going to do to this tune,
Sure.
because it may want something different.
That's fine.
So yeah, who
Okay.
knows? I,
Just-
I may end up with a small ensemble, or just go ballistic.
yeah, yeah. Nice. Nice. Did you play bass on it also?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Play
What
some
was
bass, some keys, you know.
Oh, you did a lot of heavy lifting.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's great. What bass did you play on it? Like what actual physical bass of yours did you
Oh,
play?
it was a four string. It was a
Okay.
four string, my Sadowski,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
we went for it.
Sweet, sweet. And you were recently a Mark bass. You're in the Mark bass family. That's
I
recent
am
news since the last time we spoke.
yes, I joined the Mark Base family. I known those guys for a little while now, and you know, you know how this is. Sometimes changes happen, and
Sure.
it's almost like professional sports. You can be happy in a team, but at some point, management has another
Well, yeah,
vision.
Aguilar got a new coach. Aguilar got a new coach
No,
a couple
no,
years ago.
they got a new general manager. Forget about the coach, So it was like,
Yeah.
okay, I don't think I'll be seeing that much playing time here.
I haven't played anything of theirs since, and I'm not asking you to throw dirt or anything. I'm just genuinely curious. I haven't played any of those since that happened, since he sold the company, Aguilar. Uh, is this the same electronics? Is it the same engineering? I know visually they're doing some new stuff.
I
And the
think,
pieces look different, but is it the same schematics?
from what I understood,
Okay.
uh, a lot of the the frames, and what I mean is the actual physical frames of the stuff, have been changed.
Okay.
The electronics are still the same.
Okay.
Like the pedals, uh, it was a funny conversation because I was told that, you know, a store somewhere, I think it was in East LA, was telling them, listen, pedals sound good and stuff, but they're boring as hell. People don't.
Yeah, I mean, they weren't visually astounding, but
They're
I mean,
bland, and then
yeah,
that's when they got creative and started just recasing the same pedals. But
sure,
and it gives you another avenue for revenue
of
for the,
course,
the person that is just aesthetically going like, oh, but this one looks so much cooler.
right, right,
Well,
right.
it sounds the same, but
Yeah,
so
yeah, 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 yeah. I do though, specifically about stomp boxes. I have an issue with like the funny names and all the colors, and I don't know which one actually. Like all these knobs, and they're all labeled kind of funny, and the whole pedal. I don't even know what the effect is. Because it's called some Marvel superhero character. It's like, what is it? What is it? What does it do?
I remember back in the day, the funniest pedal that I ever seen was a non-existing pedal.
Yeah.
I was in a studio in New York, and they had like a sampler, like the those Whitman chocolate samplers,
Oh yeah, yeah,
and that was their sampler. Like
yeah.
they had put, the engineers got creative. They put quarter-inch jacks and
Yeah,
everything
yeah.
to the box, but then they created another pedal called Russian Dragon.
Okay.
and they had the shape of a dragon, but it really was called Rush and Dragging Pedal. You know, so whenever the track was somebody that wasn't like playing up to par, they go like, "Ah, we're gonna put this through the Russian Dragon."
Yeah. You gotta clean it up, put it through the
Yeah,
filter.
exactly. So,
That's funny. That's funny. Well, it's good to know that Aguilar at least is still. I mean, I like their stuff. I have one of their heads, and they had good cabs. So I'm glad to know
n-
that didn't change because everybody gets nervous about it. When Ampeg sold, everybody got a little nervous about it. It's just like, now I'm sure we have some mutual friends over there at Yamaha and Line 6 and Ampeg, Ryan Phoebus, who's a sound engineer for them.
mhm.
And I talk to him regularly. I'm like, man, what are you guys doing with Ampeg? Because, like, I don't care what you're doing with Line 6 because I don't care about Line 6. Ampeg it has a place in all of our hearts just from recorded history. I don't own it, but Ampeg's the sound. Like, don't mess up that sound.
Ampeg B15, my first
That's right.
amplifier ever.
Okay.
Flip top.
Yeah.
Uh,
Oh, yeah.
Hardcore. That was
That's right.
that thing. I used to drag that thing everywhere to all my gigs, and I got a funny story about it. Uh, the original ones back in the day, they had
Sure.
like a little fuse in the back
Hmm.
for protect the circuit.
Sure.
And I don't know how I found out from somebody. They kept on shortcutting, burning, and I will have to have like a little box of fuse changing throughout gigs and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
somebody at some point told me, "Oh, if you put like a piece of aluminum foil, it does the same thing. It keeps, it's a transit, so the electricity." I'm like, "Wow, really?" So now I had aluminum foil in my bass, and whenever it went bad, I would just put another piece of aluminum foil. And one day I'm at a gig and an older sound. I mean, I'm like, I don't know, 15, 16. So I
Hmm.
think so I'm at a gig and it doesn't work. And I take out my aluminum foil and I'm, rolling it out to put, and the sound engineer looks at me and he goes, "What are you doing?" And he goes, "Oh, I'm thinking that I'm going to like enlight him. Huh.
Yeah. You
The
don't know
fuse kept
about
on,
this? How do you not know about this?
I
Yeah.
said, the fuse keep on burning, but not with this. And the guy slapped me in the back of the head with a bah. And he goes, "The fuse is to prevent from electrocuting you, dumbass." It was like, oh. So that was the end of that
That's,
amazing
yeah.
discovery of mine.
Right. The MacGyver bass amp.
Yeah, exactly. It's like
That's
there's a
hilarious.
purpose for the fuse.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, that's hilarious. Man, I'm looking forward to doing the workshop coming up.
I am very excited. I
Yeah.
haven't, it's funny because a lot of the stuff, sometimes is always traveling out of town. Like I just did Gerald Beasley's base camp a few months
Yeah.
ago.
Yeah, let's talk
Uh,
about that. I did want to ask you about that. I know he's been doing it for a little over 20 years, correct?
yes. Oh no, it's
Yeah.
it's been it's been ongoing for a while. And
Yeah.
I known Gerald for many, many years. I want to say 30 plus years.
Okay.
And he's always been a good friend and a brother, a great player. And throughout the years, the back in the day when the NAM was the epicenter of
I know.
gathering
Yeah.
everyone from around the world
Right.
for
It's
a
the big
weekend.
family reunion. Yeah, for four
Exactly. You
days.
see
Sure.
everybody. Gerald kept on saying forever, "Man, I got to bring you for the base camp." And it's like, dude, let's do it. So this went on for a while, but finally I did it the first time. I think I was like 2019. I
Okay.
went there and it was like the East Coast vibe because I went, Marcus was there that year. I can't remember who else did it go. There was like three or four guys from New York that we all knew each other.
Okay.
So we decided to make it a cheesesteak tryout. Like we
Yeah.
went out and tried every night. We would go to a different cheesesteak place to try out which was the best one. Indeed.
Okay.
Okay. So
This is so he's in New York or they're in Philly or where is the
they're in
camp
Philly. No, no,
held?
no. The base camp is in Philly. It's been,
Okay.
Gerald's from Philly, so it's been based there since day one.
So to
Uh,
tangent into cheesesteaks, uh, so there was oh man, I was there. I haven't been there in a while, but it was like I don't know, maybe 2014. I was there, and there's what is it? Pat's and Geno's, the two. Like
Uh,
each one has like a bit of a cult following, and they're
yeah, no, no. Oh
right
God, oh
across the
God.
street from each other, and
Now
it's
I'm gonna get killed because I can't remember
I
the
believe
name.
one is Geno's, but the other one I think is Pat's.
No, no, no. Because God, God. This is when you wish you had a lifeline. Lifeline.
Yeah, yeah,
uh,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
uh, oh, you know what? I can't remember. Uh, I'm going blank. I'm
That's
going
all right.
blank. But there's the place that we went the first night. That was the place that at the end, and it was Diamarcos, Diamados, the it's okay.
Okay.
Insert at some point we're
Yeah,
gonna have to.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah. This was brought to you by,
Right. Yeah. Dude. Um. Yeah, but while I was there, I was doing a tour with the cast of Always Sunny in Philadelphia, their live stage
Oh,
show.
okay.
So those guys knew, and every night
Okay.
back in the green room was just boxes of cheesesteaks, like literally
Oh,
moving boxes of cheesesteaks. And one night was from Geno's, and the other place that I can't remember the name, that was the other night. And
well, the funny thing was like
I
when I
was
was
putting them
doing
in my luggage, and like I had some
uh
in my gig bag. I was taking them back to the hotel. It was for
for
4 days.
breakfast to
That's all I had.
for breakfast today,
Yeah,
another cheesesteak.
exactly, exactly. The other half
Uh,
of the cheesesteak from last
was
night.
funny because from the clinic I called Stanley
Hmm.
that he's from Philly, and I have him in the speakerphone. It's like Stanley, I'm here in your hometown. I
Yeah.
need to know what cheesesteak place you want to recommend. And whichever he did, like half of the classroom went, no, no.
Yeah, yeah, of course, of course, of course.
I don't know. I mean, that's like recommending a pizza spot in New
Yeah,
York.
right. Yeah,
Which is your favorite? Well, it's Ray's, it's Tony's, it's Little Joe.
yeah, yeah. We're a
It all
taco
depends.
spot. I remember when I used to hang out with the piano bar guys all the time with Zane and Tony and Kamasi. It was always just like, no, man, don't go to Kamasi's taco spot. You got to check out Tony's taco spot. So then like I'm just going to all these taco spots with him, like doing a taco shootout, trying to
Yeah.
see whose tacos are the most happening. But back to the base camp. So, so you've been there. You started in 2019, and how long is the camp?
The camp is it's a 4 day, 3 day event, Friday
Okay,
through Sunday. Yeah. And they have created a very nice atmosphere of people. They have a lot of return students, which is
great,
amazing.
great.
Um, and then of course, because it's been this long and established, you always will get other people coming back. But it's almost like a family atmosphere because a lot of people known each other for, I mean, going to the camp 10, 15 years.
Oh wow.
And they all know each other. So they're looking at it like, kids in summer camp that they have their buddies that they'll spend some time together during the summer, and they already are like looking forward, and
Yeah.
they pick up exactly where they left the last time.
Right, right,
Um,
right.
so it was that kind of vibe. And I remember some of the students that I had in 2019 when I went a few months ago, and it was like,
Okay.
oh, I remember you, and this and that, and it's all levels, which is
Okay.
very cool. So
Yeah.
you may have from beginners to intermediate to advanced,
Hmm.
and what I kind of like of the camp is that you will put all the teachers to do at least one of the levels
Okay.
because it gives a different perspective to all the students,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and you go in, and when you're working with the beginners, you're there pretty much at telling them the basic stuff. No, that this is your volume, this is a blend pod,
Right. Right.
this
Yeah.
and that, this is how you tune whatever.
Sure.
Within that spectrum of beginners, there's less advanced, more advanced and stuff, and then you move to the people that have been playing for a little while, and then you get to the guys that that go there to see you know what they can do and
Yeah. Yeah.
how
Yeah. They're,
good
they're,
are
they're, they're there to pass out their business card. Is that
yeah,
what they're,
or
they're there to show
just
off?
to test their guns and see what I can
Yeah.
get. So yeah, it's very nice. And then you do. I did a concert, very nice concert. Uh, Drums and percussion. We just played an afternoon, and then the next day, Omar Hakim and Gerald
Oh,
did the
sweet.
same thing. So
Okay.
yeah, it has evolved to. an event that people really look forward to it and get a bang for the buck.
That's great. Is there so there's also performance opportunities for the students there? Do they get to
Oh,
play with
every single
drummers and
student,
piano players and stuff?
the the last day of the show, it's the marathon day. It's almost
Okay.
like the old Jerry Lewis telethon.
Yeah.
Every single student that attended the camp has to get up and play.
Great. Great.
So there's a rhythm section, there's a keyboard, there's a drummer, there's everything there, and it's one after the other. Get up and play. So this is like I said, three and a half hours into the event, they're still getting
Yeah.
every student up there and playing. So
That's cool. What do the beginners show up with? Do they have some like simpler James Brown lines worked
yeah,
out or
exactly. I mean, and when I say play, it doesn't mean that they play a song. They can get up there and just play a groove. But
okay.
what is part of requirement of the camp is that as an attendee, you have to get up
Sure.
and and play, which I think is great because a lot of people get afraid, intimidated. You have to do it at some point in your life. Might as
Yeah,
well
yeah.
start here, where everybody is just here to support you. So they'll get up in there and they'll just go boom, 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 boom,
Yeah. Just
boom.
make some
Like
noise on
whoop,
the bass. Sure.
move on.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's great. I mean, it's a sounds like a safe place to fall, so it's
exactly.
so
Yeah,
no harm, no foul.
there you go.
That's killer. And that was a few months back?
Yeah, that was August, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was. Yeah,
Okay.
August.
Yeah, summer thing. He does that annually?
Annually. Yeah. It used to
Okay.
be earlier in the year. He used to do it like around March,
Mm-hmm.
I think it was, because I remember it was, a few months after the NAM show. That's when he
Right.
usually did. And then he moved it to later on. And so now it's been for the last, I want to say 5 or 6 years, maybe more. It's been in August.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I mean those things. I know just from doing putting together workshops like what we'll be doing is
Mhm.
you got to really look at the school schedule. Like I don't have children. I'm not aware of the school schedule. So it's actually the folks over at Lemur that we both know. There's like
Mhm.
she's like, yo, here's what's happening at the school. I'm like, oh, okay, well then that's not an option. Well, she's like, yeah, then it's spring break, then it's finals, then it's
Oh, yeah. Oh.
jeez. When do these
Uh,
kids have a life? Like whatever. Like man.
and don't throw if they play sport on
Yeah.
top of
Oh
it.
man. That's the truth. Some music students I won't take until the sport is over. Because then it's just a
Uh,
bunch of cancellations and the music always takes a back burner. Like, don't spread yourself too thin. Like, focus on the sport while you're in the sport,
mhm.
and then when your off season happens, let's check this out. Because yeah, I don't want to put more on this kid's plate because then he's just gonna show up to everything, you know, not being prepared.
Yeah.
That's not part of it at all. That's not part of it. But yeah, man, I'm looking forward to doing this. I'm looking forward to kind of organizing it. This part will probably be cut out of the actual episode, but we haven't actually had a chance to talk about it. So,
No.
um, one thing I did find is it was a lot easier to market if it was just Latin music instead of Latin bass because then I could pass out flyers all around LACM and like all these other guys, Joey Navarro and Ronnie Gutierrez, like, yo, tell your drum students, tell your piano students. It's
Which
just
is
learning from a bass player producer. Doesn't mean it's all we're talking about is bass lines. It's Latin music.
and I want to say every single time that I do my master class,
Mm,
it will turn into that
great,
because
great.
uh, I always have approached this as a musician,
Yes.
the word musician in general.
Yeah.
And it brings so much more to the table than an instrumentalist,
Right.
like the drummer or the piano player or the bassist. No, the musician is the person that is a little bit rounded on
Hmm.
everything, and that knowledge happens to come through his instrument of choice.
Right.
But there's a lot of stuff that you have to put together in order to elevate
Hmm.
what you do,
That's
quote
right.
unquote, the instrument you play. So it's not just learning scales or learning licks or
No, no, no.
it's
Yes.
it's how do you put this in conceptually in what you're doing, and
Hmm.
how do you tie this in together, and how do you use your instrument specifically to make it an anchor for this section or for that section, and how do you approach a tune in a way that everybody may feel where you're at,
Right.
not like I'm in the pocket. I don't even care about you guys.
Right. Yeah.
So
Right.
it's a it comes down to, yeah, music in general.
We'll be back right after this.
International Society of Bassists, commonly referred to as ISB, is an amazing resource for double bassists. Visit isbworldoffice.com. They support the double bass community in every way, from sheet music to finding a teacher to getting insurance on your bass. I am honored that they are a sponsor of the Latin Bass Workshop this weekend with Oskar Cartaya, and check them out, isbworldoffice.com. The Career Musician. The Career Musician is founded by music director, songwriter, and producer Nomad. At The Career Musician, Nomad covers all aspects of what is involved in being a working professional musician. My interview with Nomad will be on next week's episode of the Bass Shed podcast, so stay tuned for that. And stop by thecareermusician.com and subscribe to the Career Musician podcast wherever you enjoy listening to podcasts. Building community is something that's incredibly important to me, and I want to offer up the middle of this show for the community to hear from you. So get featured on the Bass Shed podcast. That's right, folks. Right here in the middle of the show, your news can be heard by the bass community. Get your links to their social media, your website in the show notes. Stop by thebassshed.com and get your spot on the Bass Shed podcast. I'm not sure, like what Gerald specifically his curriculum was at that kind of camp and things like that. When doing these, where it's not a camp with a bunch of teachers, and you have a very limited amount of time, and we are trying to, and I want you to talk about Global Arts Foundation Corporation. I've connected those people, and this is to raise funds for that youth music program, which I met with the directors, and they're lovely, lovely people. And they told me more about the organization after you told me about it. The big fan, and I want to continue supporting what they do.
I've been doing camp, not camp, like it can't even be called masterclass, but I've been going and tutoring their kids for a couple of years now, and it's
Yeah. It
been.
sounds like from what they discuss, it's almost like an interactive seminar thing where you go for a week or something, or an extended period of time, and they release content, and you go through the process with them.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
What is that process that you, for all the listeners to the podcast, that you go through with the kids there?
well, they have, it's like an after school program in the summer,
Hmm.
and it's focused in uh, underserved communities. So the Pico Rivera area, all of that stuff. So they have a school. Kids come in there. They're there for most of the day, but they're doing all sorts of music
Hmm.
related stuff. They're learning different instruments. They're getting a little bit of theory. All of stuff, and then they come together as an ensemble. When they come as an ensemble, you can imagine. You walk into a room. You got 10 ukuleles, 5 violins, 3 violas, a trumpet, 4 trombones. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
we'll make something out of this.
Yeah.
And every time that I go, I sit with them and I tell them, okay, today we're all composers. We're gonna write something together.
Sweet.
And it doesn't take much for my old brain to go to a 10-year-old brain, because my gap is not that big. So we start creating a scenario like, how are we feeling today? Is it a sunny day? Okay, are we
Sure.
happy? Is anybody hungry? And once we put all these elements, then we have a title for a song. It's
Mhm.
you know, the happy, sunny, hungry day. You
Okay.
know, and that's the concept of the song now. So if we want to do something happy, we usually go for major key, you know, and I
Sure.
sit down and explain, this is a major chord. Ding. This is how a minor chord sounds. You know, the difference between, you know, the chord, how they sound, it helps how the song is gonna, you know, very basic, but just giving them all this little piece of, you know, nuggets of information
I
that
mean,
will help the.
basic, as you described, sure, maybe, but that is night and day different than having them play hot cross buns on a recorder. You know what I mean? Like you're teaching them about emotional intelligence, and and how that relates to music. That's huge, and that's I think we can both testify some stuff pros don't even have.
You know, we
Yeah,
try. So, but the best, the reward at the end is when we play something. I
yeah,
mean, and it can be 16 bars of something, but they all feel inclusive, like they had a part to it.
that's amazing.
And it's better than me trying to come in and tell them, okay, you're gonna write, you know, you play this, because then I'm just being a writer, composer, handing out parts. I do that in a, you know, in a session with guys, and I still have a hard time. You know, everybody's giving me their input, and like then
Sure.
you know how they think it should be. Is like great, save it for your record. Uh,
Yeah.
but the idea with them is to just create that sense of I can do this. Oh, this
Yeah.
is how it works. And uh, I speak from my personal experiences when I used to. Uh, my early days at playing, I would be with my friends, and I was the one that will come up with an idea, and I wanted to share it and tell this other guy, you know, let's do this, and that's how this whole arranger, producer, MDing came out of the pure necessity of trying to get something going,
Yeah.
you know, because a lot of people in the room and nobody knows what to do,
Yeah.
and we are all jamming and got one section where we don't know how to get to the next section,
Right.
and you know, we can't figure out what's the key for the singer if there was one,
Yeah.
you know, and things like that. So you start by osmosis taking that role of going like, well, that's not a female key. You after you've done it 20 times with 20 different singers, you realize this is their range, and
Yeah.
you know, females will sing around here, some guys feel sing around here. This is all those kind of things you just learn on the job, and
That's
then you
right.
start applying it.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, it kind of getting the kids hip to some of those things. It can make them maybe that the switch flips. Like, oh, cool. You can just generate it by being a leader of your peers and asking these simple questions. You can start to motivate the whole group, and maybe they get in on that level, or the other people like, no, I like when someone else leads, but I'm going to chime in with this input, and
Oh
that's
yeah,
cool. And the world needs those people.
you know, that is definitely part of the whole process.
Yeah,
It's figuring out your God-given abilities, your
hmm
natural born skills,
that's right.
and which are they, you know, how to get the most out of them. So yeah, it doesn't mean everybody has to be an MD or the arranger or a producer, but if you are meant to be that and you just don't know, and suddenly a light bulb goes up and it goes like, well, I can figure that one out. Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
no, do this, let's do that. Okay,
yeah,
yeah. I always tell that I see it very symbolic of like you're throwing seeds, and
sure.
there's a scripture that says you throw seeds, some of them will fall in good soil, some of them will fall, on
That's
bad
right.
soil, some of them will sprout and grow, some won't, but you just don't know. You can't
hmm
go, okay, this specific seed goes here. No, you just throw them, keep on throwing everywhere.
Yeah, yeah,
Then
right.
you look back and we're like, oh, okay, that worked out.
Yeah, and I mean, that's the job is to go out and sow the seeds, and your job isn't to make sure every little kernel and where it happened to it,
Mm,
and
mm,
water it and foster it. No, that's not
mm,
the job.
yeah, exactly.
How did you get introduced to global arts?
Uh, the one of the ladies that is on the board, her name is Ana Paola,
hmm
and she's unbelievably classically trained flautist.
Okay.
And until recently, she was playing with the Marine band, and she was
Okay.
like the number one chair, the number one flute in the orchestra and in the
Yeah.
band. I mean, very, very, plays all type of flutes, piccolo, the alto,
Yeah. Yeah.
lead. And her husband is one of my right-hand guys in
Okay.
percussion. He is amazing Venezuelan percussion, been in town now for I think maybe a decade,
Okay.
and works with me, I would say pretty much on almost everything that I'm doing. He's one
Okay.
of my calls.
Great.
So they had a fundraiser, I want to say like 4 or 5 years ago, that they invited us to play. And I put it on an ensemble together and we did the fundraiser. And then right there, sat with them and saw what the program was about. And it was like, wow, okay. So we went to the school one year and did like a little show for the kids. That
Hmm.
time it was mostly like just a performance, and they got to see live music and how it works, and did like a very improvised workshop.
Yeah.
And then the other times that I've been going, I go specifically to work with them.
Okay.
And yeah, it's always a great, and I got to give it their staff. I mean, the people that work there, these people are like, you're there all for a couple of weeks, every day, all day,
Yeah.
just, you know, trying to like get whatever piece of knowledge you can to these kids. And it's amazing. It's amazing that the dedication and the effort and how hard and dedicated they are to the process.
Hmm. Hmm. And now, so this specific organization, Global Arts, is in the Pico Union area, which
Correct.
is um where, like, I know where it is. It's obviously Pico and Union. That's just east of downtown.
Exactly. A little
Yeah.
bit east of that. It's very adjacent to East LA.
Hmm.
And it's still like part of it will be the fringe of like LA, like the
Yeah.
southeast part of the city. But again, it's a lot of immigrants
Hmm.
will go to that area,
Sure.
and that's pretty much the population of that whole section is Central and South American immigrants
Hmm.
that have come and have made that home, via of having family here or just a place where they feel that they can relate a little bit where they come from, all of
Sense
that
of
stuff.
community.
It's
Yeah.
uh, the funny thing that I always tell about LA is that me being a New Yorker, I'm used to being in a building where there's, two Puerto Ricans, a Jamaican, three African Americans, a Jew, and a Filipino.
Yeah.
You learn about everything
Right. Right.
by osmosis, by where you live.
Sure.
You learn about Hanukkah, Kwanzaa,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yom
Yeah.
Kippur, ubi bread, everything. But here in LA, because we're so spread out, everything it's subdivided.
Yeah.
And culturally, I feel that it's almost like a disservice to people because they don't get the opportunity to interact and know and just have a chance to meet and find out other people and who they are, where they come from, and what they have to offer.
Hmm.
So, you go to Glendale and it's a dense Armenian populated area.
Sure.
You go to East LA, it's mostly Mexicans. You go to South Central, will be African Americans. If you
Sure.
go to
If you go to, Robertson and Olympic, it's going to be, a lot of
Jewish.
Jewish folks. Yeah.
Yeah, so everybody, the city has made it possible for everybody to almost migrate to their own specific zones
Hmm.
and stay there and create like their own little enclaves or their own communities within a bigger epicenter, which is the city.
Sure.
And then we don't have uh, a center like New York, you got downtown. Everybody says I'm going downtown, you
Right.
know. But here, places will have like their own little downtowns.
Yeah, yeah.
Burbank has like a little downtown.
Right, right, right. Like
You know,
Alhambra. When I used to live in Alhambra, that's got like a street that had all their restaurants, all their clubs. Like that was the hang, you know?
exactly. So
Yeah.
there's no need to go to
Outside of
specific
your
places.
zone. Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So when you go in there and it's a two for one because you get to experience those people
Mhm.
and what they do and how they're living and where they come from and everything. And then they get to see you, a person from their outside of their inner circle, and how they interact with you may give you an experience of like, oh, okay, well, all right, I didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't. It's a growing experience for everybody involved,
Sure.
and uh, the more that we can do these sorts of things, I think it just helps uh, people in general. It helps the artist, and it helps the student
Yeah.
in ways that we don't even understand.
I think so. Yeah. I think there's no way
Uh,
to really qualify the impact or the weight of the impact, because there's so many other things that are, even if we go back to just talking about major is happy, minor is sad, getting them to, yeah, you're explaining tonality to an extent, but to how do I feel today? You know what? No one's asked me that. I'm 7 years old and no one's asked me that. They'll ask me, how was it when I went somewhere? How was school today? Okay, school was fine. The teacher talked about this. But maybe they don't get asked, how do you feel about school today? And that has a big, huge impact. And I know from speaking to the directors at Global Arts, that's their focus, is really building relationship through music for a younger generation. And I love that too, because music is so social and
uh,
connecting the cultures. It's what they're doing there is really profound.
Listen, I have a very, very deep rooted uh, purpose and myself of using my God-given ability of music, which I have firsthand experience the joy that people may feel through music
Mhm.
in completely different ways than what we do for a living,
Yeah.
because it's almost like a blessing and a curse that what you love to do the most is the one thing that now it's the one that is providing, your income, your way of living. And then you will love to do more things that can help people and figure out, okay, money will come somewhere,
Yeah.
you know? But with that said, I never have allowed the lack of funds of something to expand my purpose of giving my
Mhm.
talent. So in New York, for 10 years, I did a fundraiser for a community center in the Bronx called the
Oh,
Castle Hill Community Center.
amazing. I didn't know that. Okay.
10 years straight. And everybody that I got on a stage with, at some point, I asked them, would you come and do this? You name it, from Patty Austin to Herb Alpert to the late Tito Puente to Mark Anthony, uh, everybody. Dave Valentin was like my co-host. He did it with me
Okay.
all 10 years. Paquito de Rivera, Justo Mario, everybody, we will go. And what I have learned through all my years of doing this, of wanting to volunteer and help, is that as artists, we are very emotional and uh, people with a lot of uh, feelings,
Mhm.
empathy.
Yep.
And it takes one person to like organize it and round them up and say, let's do this.
Mhm.
And instantly everybody goes, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not like, I never have a pullback when I say, guys, I got this thing going on, it's the so I did that in New York for 10 years. Then when I came here to LA, I was driving one day through Sunset, and I saw Children's Hospital. At this time, I didn't have my son, which is 14 now.
Mm.
I just saw the hospital, and I made a U-turn, and I went in, and I went, excuse me, who can I talk? They sent me to volunteer services. I said, I would like to know if you guys would like to have like any type of music here, like something for your patients,
Yeah,
even
like
your,
music
your
therapy vibe.
no,
Oh,
just go. I mean, just play, like bring them
okay.
music. Just
Yeah.
because, again, I see throughout a lifetime of doing this, you see somebody that walks into a show and you can feel almost like their burden, like somebody's
Yeah.
there, and there's no bigger satisfaction that at the end of the night, see them like they just forgot for a
Yeah,
moment
that's right.
whatever was anchoring down,
Yep.
it was gone,
Yeah.
and that happens at all levels.
Yeah.
So
And to
the
cats
people
on
from
stage too. You see them show up to the gig, and then after
oh,
they played, it's a different thing.
you and I very well must know that you can show up to a gig sick as a dog. Like
Yeah.
you don't even know how you're gonna put your instrument on.
Right.
You start playing, and it's almost like a something, an effect of forgetting
Mm.
pains, the runny nose, bad stomachs, and you
Yeah.
play,
Yeah.
and you do a damn show and realize, oh my God, it's the power. It's the
Yeah.
power of how this can really just take your mind and then all your effort and stuff somewhere else.
Mm.
So coming back to the hospital, the people from the hospital like looked at me like, "Oh, yes, sir, thank you." But so I had the director of the community center in New York call the
Amazing.
hospital,
Yeah.
and they talked, and he said, "No, he's legit. He's done this for 10 years." So then they reach out to me and they went, "Oh, Mr. Cartaya, well, if you want." Well, long story short, we did it until before the pandemic. We went to Children's Hospital almost for 10 years on Christmas time. I did a toy drive every
Okay.
time in Christmas, and we will take the toys and go play for the hospital, and then we will go through the different ward floors,
Hmm.
and a lot of the kids, they're bedridden, they can't get up or anything. So at the nurse stations, they will open all the doors, and we will be playing carols and little
That's
Christmas
great.
songs and move on and stuff. Dude, the first year I got some pull from people. I'm busy. It got to the point that I had two units going in with me because so
You
many
got
so
you
many
got a
people
franchise. Yeah.
so many people will call me and go like, dude, I want to go.
Yeah.
Count me in. And then
Killer.
it's like, fine. So you go to this, and we will meet. And again, all of this is not, by all means, please, I don't want to like
Sure.
make it
Sure.
sound like this is some miraculously stuff that I'm doing. I'm just saying the power of what we do is so undermined because of everything else that is involved with it. All the, ugly and negativity and the business aspect of it. But when it gets down to the bare bone, to the essence of what music does,
Hmm.
it's amazing. It's a very powerful thing, a tool that we have that we can use at any given time.
That's right.
And having that purpose in mind when you play, listen, I always told my guys in the band, we got three E's. Anybody that has played with me in my and any of my projects will tell you, oh, the three, the first one, is entertain. We go there to entertain people. Nobody goes like to a club, go like, let me get bored. I'm going here.
Yeah. Yeah.
They go to get entertained,
Sure.
you know. Second is to get enlightened.
Hmm.
Everybody can use a little lift. You
Yep.
can be here or you can be all the way down, but enlightenment comes with the territory. Entertain, enlightenment. And last but not least, we try to
Sure.
educate people about, it can be about music from different cultures. It can be about different cultures whatsoever, but just put a little piece of nugget somehow that makes them think, because if I have a song and I'm talking about how the song came about, me, feeling so hurt about seeing somebody being killed in national TV, and we all saw, it will just spark something on somebody that makes them. So entertain, enlighten, educate. All of
Yeah.
those things should be always part of a performance in one way or the other.
Yeah, I agree. Man. That's killer. And I think it's great that that the outreach aspect has been such a part of your career for so long. I didn't know that actually when we were putting together this thing coming up. I knew that I wanted it to have a bigger purpose than just talking to the local communities or the people online about music fundamentals or even cultural fundamentals. I want it to be bigger. I want it, it's got to be more. There's got to be more to it than this, and I agree with you that having this. I was talking to Jerry Watts a few months ago. I was telling him about some of the outreach stuff that I was looking to get into, and I'm like, man, I was given this thing as a bass player and as a musician, and kind of a mantra I roll with in my life is leave it better than you found it. So I have to. It can't just be about doing the gig and climbing the gig ladder or the session ladder or whatever, man. Every gig will end. That'll be over, but really doing something for people, and making a mark through music, which already has the power. It's like the power of music. It's already built in. I don't have to do much. It's music has it, like,
Yeah, exactly.
cool. I just have to show up with it, like,
We're vessels.
Yeah,
We're vessels,
that's right.
and something is coming from wherever you want to call it. You want
That's
to call it God, the universe, whatever it is
Sure.
out there.
Yeah.
You've been chosen to be one of these people that force goes through. You put it out there, and now you let it do its work, and
Yeah.
you watch it happen.
That's right. Cool, man. Thanks for taking the time today. I know you got another baseball game to get to, don't you?
Yeah, and it's not the Yankee one, but hopefully one day that will be
cool, man. I'm really looking forward to doing this on October 26th. And
yes, to everybody that's listening, please
Yes.
come on down, tune in, whatever it is.
Yeah.
It as you see, this can go anywhere.
Yeah,
We'll be
that's
talking,
right.
don't be surprised if we're talking about Puerto Rican food. Whatever it is, it takes, we will end up somewhere. But I assure you that your understanding, your knowledge, your curiosity, your sensitivity, whatever it is about Latin music and how it applies and how do you approach it and what it does will be brought in a little bit. It will grow as much as you allow it to, because I feel that it needs to be put out there so people to take it in, absorb it, consume it, and whichever way. My motto always is the old Radio Shack model. You have questions, I have answers. And if I don't, I make them up on the spot.
Yeah,
Trust
that's
me.
right. That's right. We'll figure it out. Oscar, thanks so much, man, and I will see you this
Thank
coming
you, my
weekend.
brother.
All right, buddy.
I'm waiting for whoever gets there.
I'm gonna text you soon as I hear.
We're at the promised land. So whoever shows up.
You guys got it on lock. Let's see if these guys can make it happen.
Okay,
All
man.
right, dude. I'll see you
Take
soon.
care.
All right,
Peace.
bye-bye.
Yo, this is Craig Gash. Subscribe to the podcast. Follow us on the Instagram, the YouTube. Leave us a comment.
All right. That was my talk with Oskar Cartaya. Again, the workshop with Oskar Cartaya is this Saturday, October 26th, and is also available online. Stop by the Bass Shed Academy to register and join us in our efforts to support global arts and their work with the underprivileged youth. I love how Oskar has spearheaded events similar to this over the years, not only in Los Angeles, but also in New York, and all the high-level artists that supported him in that. It's so easy to get caught up with gear and practice that we lose sight of a responsibility of the artist in society is to give back and is to serve. And Oskar has done a fantastic job with doing that, and it continues to do a fantastic job with that. Super inspiring to me. That's really inspiring to me. I hope you all can join us on October 26th at the Latin Music Workshop with Oskar. And that's all I got for this one, folks. That's all I got. I will catch you on the next one in a minute.